words of my mouth and the meditations of our hearts be acceptable in your sight, O God, our strength and our Redeemer. Amen. John the Baptist baptized Jesus. Matthew, Mark, and Luke attest to that. The book of Acts refers to it. John, the fourth evangelist, does not have a specific account of John baptizing Jesus, but he is especially interested in spelling out the proper relationship between John and Jesus. Understanding the relationship is crucial. Here's what our reading today says about the relationship. John came as a witness to testify to the light. He himself was not the light, but he came to testify to the light. Further, John the Baptist says this about himself: I am not the Messiah, the one who is coming after me. I am not unworthy to untie the thong of his sandal. What we have here is John the Baptist speaking to the superior authority and divine agency of Jesus, who is coming into the world as the true light. Okay, we know what this means about John's relationship to Jesus. John is called to point ahead of himself and beyond himself to the coming of the Messiah. John is clear to say that he is not the Messiah. What does this mean for us? Well, I believe that John models what we are to say about ourselves as well. I am not the Messiah. Repeat that after me. I am not the Messiah. This truth may seem obvious to us at first, but are we not those people anointed in baptism with the sign of the cross? Are we not those who say with St. Paul, it is no longer we who live, but Christ who lives in us? Are we not Christ's agents, his head and hands and feet in the world? Are we not called to bring good news to the poor, to proclaim liberty to the captives, release to the prisoners, and a new day of hope and joy in the world? Martin Luther said on several occasions that we are to be little Christs, and in no small or timid way. We do have a messianic calling and connection, don't we? We are needed and called out to do what Jesus Christ would be doing in our suffering and struggling world. All of that is true and worthy and noble. We are called together to be Christ-like. We are not just like Christ's body. We are Christ's body in the world. His mission is ours. But in John the Baptist's disclaimer is the opposite point, and it too speaks needed truth. Apparent contradictions contain two sides of an essential truth. It's called a paradox. Who am I? Who are we? Not the Messiah. There are many ways in which false messianic expectations sneak into our lives. They are found in us and around us as we seek too much from others. They are also found in us and around us as we seek to be too much for others. In a song that is at once poignant and blunt, Bob Dylan wrote one take on John's important disclaimer. You say you're looking for someone who's never weak but always strong, to protect you and defend you whether you are right or wrong, someone to open each and every door, but it ain't me, babe. It ain't me you're looking for. How many of us have suffered from some degree of the messianic complex? My wife reminds me occasionally of that. supreme rescuer and fixer of other persons, when we finish others' sentences, when we diminish others with our own eager egos, when we burn ourselves out this time of year trying to please everybody and to create the perfect Christmas experience, how about the other side of the coin? When we look to others and put them up on a pedestal in order to be our special saviors and rescuers. We get this not only on the interpersonal level, it plays out among nations. We have seen dangerous faith placed in false and flawed messiahs. Many of us are praying real hard right now that our own nation will not be overcome by a particular messianic arrogance that can drive overreaching international policies and a permanent war footing to try to fix everybody in the whole world. One of my favorite pieces of Western art is the Eisenheim altarpiece. Yeah, I paid attention to art history class when they would turn the lights down and you had to identify the slides. Back in those days, it was painful some afternoons. This is one that stuck out to me. One of my favorite panels on that altarpiece is the scene where John the Baptist stands tall with his oversized index finger pointing away from himself to Jesus, the true Messiah, on the cross. It is right and salutary that we should remember John's pointing away from himself and to Jesus, the true light, who comes to conquer the darkness. We are not, any nor all of us, the Messiah. That position has already been filled. To let Jesus be our Messiah, our anointed Savior, will still entail seeking to be engaged in His mission in God's world. But to let Jesus be our Messiah also commands humility and letting go of our seducing desires, either to rescue or to be rescued by others. The coming of Jesus, the true Messiah, means letting go of all our creeping and creepy messianic complexes. Brothers and sisters, we already have a Messiah, and He ain't us. That is both a word of judgment and also a word of delightful grace. Thanks be to God.